Metaverses. Yeah. Hi everyone, my name is Patrick Akil, and for today's episode we give you an introduction into the Metaverse. We go over what it is, what the use cases are, and the technical challenges that we're facing and that are ahead of us as well. My guest Jieke Pan is currently VP of Engineering and CTO at Mobiquity, as well as being co-organizer of Dutch Metaverse Meetup Group. I'll put the links to his socials in the description below, and with that being said, enjoy the episode.
Beyond coding.
And how many podcasts have you done around Metaverse, blockchain related?
So blockchain was with Zoe.
Okay.
But that was about a year ago. So this is the first one actually about the Metaverse and everything around it. I think the timing is also better now than it was last year, for example.
Yeah.
It is a bit more in the media. People are figuring out or hearing the term. But like me, they don't quite have an image of what it actually is.
I would say nobody does.
Yeah, right.
Until today, it's still the. It's hard when you try to present something. It's not touchable, so to speak. That it's a experience, but you cannot. It's hardly to explain, right?
Yeah.
And also, it's a broader concept. Somehow, from one day to another, becomes the hype.
Yeah.
And everyone believes it will be the terminology leading the next web technology.
Yeah.
From investment group until every single engineers or just a simple technology passionist, right?
Yeah.
And the people who use emerging technology, especially devices like VR glasses and AR, they suddenly gets kind of this association, I think, has certain level of connection with the announcement of Facebook as company became Meta.
Yeah.
That's kind of officialize or bring Metaverse into a different stage. Metaverse already exists for a while.
Yeah.
In the domain in the domain of gaming, online gaming.
Yeah.
Especially the very heavy lifting 3D rendered immersive experiences requires not only good console capability, but also other devices that follows your personal behavior and preferences and the experience you want to get in touch, to feel, to experience, right?
Yeah.
That immersive experience enabled by VR, typically VR glasses and like devices like Oculus, you have a controller, you have glasses, so you are in that scenery, right?
Yeah.
The Metaverse definition already was there, but not so popular as one day to another that Facebook claimed as a company, claimed the Meta as the name of the company. So
it really accelerated because of that, right?
I think from one day to another, suddenly everyone was talking about it.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that, including Mark Zuckerberg himself, his team is still trying to figure out. Besides VR, which is kind of sort of becomes an obvious thing, like, oh yeah, wow, that's a VR thing, right? That's a VR experience.
We know that.
I think it's way beyond VR, way beyond NFT. It's per layer.
Yeah.
Right? Per layer of how you define to deliver this immersive experience end to end.
Yeah.
So far, people still leverage, like they believe using cloud would be the natural choice, right, for scalability, so I can put my contents on top. But if you read a certain definition of the people talking about the content storage, it needs to be decentralized.
Yeah.
Right? The ownership needs to be transparent. And there is no longer the centralized way how cloud or distributed computing can support.
Yeah, because that's all centralized.
It's decentralized.
Yeah.
Right? So it becomes a very interesting topic. Does it need to be? But we often don't think about that yet.
Yeah.
The VR games you play, they are still hosted.
They're centralized, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So does the content need to be decentralized? Everyone claims about, I'm NFT ready. So what does it mean, NFT readiness? All right, so your ownership of your artwork, that's easy to understand.
Yeah.
So you can claim the ownership, but doesn't mean your content, your media content, do they need to be hosted somewhere distributed but decentralized way, yet scalable, right?
Yeah.
And if you do some research, you will see technology like IPFS, it starts really introducing the interoperability
Yeah.
as well as the distribution and access to the content so that you could get access to it in a decentralized way, but the performance is still under under testing, I would say.
Yeah.
I haven't seen like large scale websites or digital content distribution platform built immersively on top of IPFS.
Yeah.
There are a lot more adoption now, and it's a trend to be. I think we are at a golden stage or era to be part of the game changer.
Yeah, but why does so for non-fungible tokens, I get why it's distributed, right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise you could never prove that the ownership of one person is actually
Yes.
the actual ownership. But why does the metaverse, because those are two separate things, right? I think metaverse and cryptocurrencies, those are two separate tracks.
Certainly.
They might converge or diverge, we don't know. We're right in the middle of that. But why would the metaverse need to be decentralized? Why can it not be central server, everyone goes in there, logs in,
So
does their stuff?
that's an interesting thing is since the beginning was the principle or the vision that the community put on top,
Okay.
right? And if you think about NFT, right, people wants to have is the so-called the internet or the Web 3.0. Besides of metaverse experiences or not, the way the society and community wants to move forward is no centralized control of or ownership of information.
Okay.
Information needs to be transparent.
Yeah.
It needs to be accessible by everyone, of course, but not yet centrally controlled by one company, even in a storage way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because that would mean power, a whole lot of information.
Right, and also the trustworthiness of the information. Because if you read the raw definition of Web 3.0, or even now the principle of Metaverse,
Yeah.
it's my memory is becoming shorter and shorter, so I read out for you. So there's what they do. So let's go from the definition of metaverse these days, what they call, and it's defined by the unit, the company Unity.
Yeah.
Unity, the engineer actually, I think he's the 3D engineer Tony Parisi, so apparently a very famous one. So his definition of metaverse is interesting. So first one, there's only one metaverse.
Yeah.
It's already interesting because all the companies, they say they are a metaverse. Second, the metaverse is for everyone, so accessibility.
Yeah.
Nobody controls metaverse.
Okay.
Means decentralized.
Decentralized, yeah.
Or at least, if it's centralized, there's no power control.
Shared ownership. Yeah.
Shared ownership, right? Scalable via different owners, or at least. So then that naturally means decentralization.
Yeah.
Then it's open, hardware independent.
Okay.
So, and also it's a network. Metaverse is a network and is the internet.
Okay.
So that's the most recent definition done by Tony from Unity.
Yeah.
Whether you agree or not, that's the direction moving forward, right? But then you look at the other aspects of this whole hyper metaverse.
Yeah.
So we all know the person who, the person who was the major, or everyone called the father of web, World Wide Web, Tim Berners-Lee.
Yeah.
Right? So his vision on 3.0 stands on three major areas: decentralization.
Yeah.
Without talking about the metaverse, right? His vision from evolvement of technology point of view.
Yeah.
Web 2.0 to Web 3.0. First is decentralization.
Interesting.
Second is non-discrimination.
Okay. Yeah. So inclusiveness all around.
Inclusiveness all around. Bottom-up design.
What does he mean by that?
So it's basically you decide, right, or each component where you wanted to kind of have the ownership
Yeah.
and also own the ownership,
Okay.
right? So it is not a top-down decision what it needs to be, but it's grow up.
Yeah. So it goes hand in hand with the decentralization.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Interesting.
So that's the trend how Tim has defined, or Professor Tim defined,
Yeah.
Web 3.0 versus Metaverse definition.
Yeah.
So you will see a lot of similarities,
Exactly. Yeah.
right?
And it's getting so. I did a bit of research in the metaverse, and I also read that it's been around for a while. Right? Facebook might have kind of given it a boost, but the term was always there.
Yeah, exactly.
A game I knew and I've heard from other podcasts is Second Life. Have you heard of that as well?
Right. Second Life was another wave of creating the what's so-called the digital twins of your life.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't even know when it was. It might have been in the 2000s.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
So that's already 20 plus years ago. But the idea was you create a world which is called Second Life. You log in and you have your avatar.
Certainly.
And you go by your regular day as you would in the real world, except you would do it in Second Life.
Yes, and if you now log into Second Life, there are some very sad people still there.
It's still
sad,
there?
Sad Second Life hanging around.
I thought it died off.
So would be this as a in double quotes dead end of the metaverse?
Yeah.
It can be one of the directions if it's just a stay on the hype,
Yeah.
and there's no effectiveness in terms of you really leveraging user experience to the next level or delivering effective business outcomes.
Yeah.
And that will just keep you out of the game and being the hype for a while.
But what would one of those business outcomes be then? Because I can't really imagine. I've read, okay, we're doing virtual meetings, and I always look at a screen. I'm not looking at the person. They don't really see my hands. It's very off.
Yeah.
And the idea is that in the metaverse, that might be closer to what it actually would be in real life.
So you've seen so there are multiple platforms now that's also claiming their exclusiveness, uniqueness in terms of enabling the next level of experience in metaverse.
Yeah.
One is decentralized, right? So you can even own a virtual land by paying with digital currencies like Bitcoin in that space, right? It's literally building a universe in that platform. Now, what is interesting behind it? Well, you could also find not interesting.
Yeah.
Is taking example of the famous music bands. So, in the past, if they wanted to have a big concert somewhere, they need to rent a physical space.
Yeah.
Make sure the schedule is up to date. Being able to rent that space for that day with a decent price, all the equipment, the teams, people are ready and stuff.
Yeah.
And the whole campaign around their concert, selling tickets, making sure weather is good, etc., etc. Nowadays, you can just host your concert virtually in the metaverse or in one of virtual spaces.
Yeah.
You have infinite space of your stage, your own custom design done instantaneously if you have design teams, or maybe platform gives you pre-made sceneries.
Yeah.
You can host as many people as you want.
Yeah.
So suddenly gives you, if you look from that angle, gives you so much capability to enable your business based on simple click on your a couple clicks of your finger.
Yeah.
Right? And without stepping out of your studio.
Exactly.
You
That's
could
crazy.
produce high quality definition of music. Your fans gets the benefits because they are listening the high quality end of music.
Yeah.
You could do live music. Still, they listening to your live voice, not a recorded one. You can change your sceneries without stopping the concert, and there are a lot of added value around it. So. Typically, it's also still to be defined, but let's say the way to attend your concert in the decentralized is that you need to have a digital wallet as each of the fans, so they need to purchase your tickets.
Yeah.
And suddenly your ticket becomes exclusive for each person. So they can be NFT right?
Yeah.
And to the detail of personal level, that's your ticket, right?
Yeah.
That have the signature of your favorite band.
Yeah.
Could be customized to your needs, right? And every single person who attend virtually the concert,
Yeah.
they can have their avatar, right, dressing up in the way they want to.
Yeah.
And if they want to buy an pre-designed, cool dressing, how to call it, objects or clothes,
Like a skin.
or skins,
Yeah.
they can to decorate their avatar. Again, another level of business value you could achieve
Yeah.
by buying those unique ones, right?
Interesting.
And you actually buy the NFT, you own it, right?
Yeah.
And it becomes very exclusive for you. Have, for instance, a signature of your band on your sneakers, right?
Yeah.
And sneakers happens to be a famous brand as well. So there are multitude level of business opportunities just within the context of a single concert
Yeah.
concept, right?
Yeah.
So if you do it well, it generates multiple levels of business opportunities for the band, for the platform, for the fans. The fans later on can sell it,
Yeah.
can sell the avatar. Someone else can buy the avatar, right? It's all about transfer the ownership and also the digital assets, right? So the design. So think about design agency behind it, making all these fancy artifacts. Also the platform which supports making sure it's a high quality voice. Sound is transmitted across the globe to everyone's ear, and for the band themselves, they just sitting in their studio.
Yeah. Make it really easy for
This
them.
is a huge change, right? It's life changing for them.
Yeah.
Think about. I think I don't know which band has hosted. I don't know the name. I didn't want to tell, otherwise we will be promoting brands. So let's keep it anonymous. But certainly there are multiple bands has held their concert in the different platforms, so Decentraland.
Yeah. So they're already doing that. It's already at that stage.
It's already happening.
Yeah.
And you may find odd.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather to go to physical space and listen to the live music. You can.
Yeah.
But it's the same as when internet came along. People say, I can still read the newspaper.
Exactly.
But think about today, you all read it digitally, right?
Yeah.
I think it must must introduce certain convenience,
Yeah.
solving life frictions, introducing efficiency, improve your life overall.
Yeah.
After all, right? So think about all these experience. You can do it at home. That's already improving life quality.
Exactly.
Now, does it need to be decentralized? I think to the individual level, nobody cares.
Nobody cares as long as you can use it and benefit
Right.
from it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but then the question is, what happens to my personal data?
Is decentralized? Sounds like it.
Sounds like.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to judge.
And what happens with the data?
So, actually, it brings your personal identity information to the next level.
Okay.
Since you are using digital wallet, it becomes secure.
Yeah.
It's no way to identify who you are because it's just a serial hash key.
Yeah.
Right? It's your public wallet address.
And you can have multiple.
You can have multiple. You can have it registering multiple type of wallet as long as it supports the protocol.
Yeah.
So that becomes interesting. Who is who, right?
Yeah.
You can call yourself whoever you want to call.
Yeah. But
That's just meta name, right?
Yeah. Isn't that also kind of scary?
Depends the intent.
Yeah.
Because what kind of possibilities and the options you want to give to the end user and consumers in certain platform? That's the question.
Yeah.
But certainly it's a secure from personal data privacy point of view.
Yeah, exactly, because it obscures that data. If you can't really see who that person is behind the scenes, their data is obfuscated.
Yeah,
So
exactly. So there's no references, right?
Exactly.
There's no direct references, so to speak. Of
Yeah.
course, unless someone hacks your wallet and own your master keys, then yes. But so it's way better than email address,
Yeah.
or even your own ID cards, right?
Yeah, but identity is a tricky thing because what we've seen on the web, let's take Twitter or Facebook or whatever, because people can be anonymous, there can be a lot of toxicity. For some reason, people hate, people flame if they're behind a screen and you can't identify it's them. Elon Musk bought Twitter. He wants to identify everyone through either NFTs or other means because he thinks that identifying people is going to reduce that. Because you can trace back, that's that person. He's actually an asshole. So he might stop doing that.
Well, I think that also comes with the definition of decentralization.
Yeah.
Is not only your data, only your interaction with the content on the metaverse.
Yeah.
Is where your data is stored. So if it is decentralized, there's no way to control the data.
Yeah.
Right. To have a proper access if it is highly encrypted. So there's no longer a company could search on their database and trace down you or the users or trying to get information in certain countries where privacy law is weaker than, for instance, GDPR.
Yeah.
Right. So I think if you want to use data for the wrong intention, you will always get there.
Yeah.
But it's more looking from life improvement perspective, and also introduction of the really engaging immersive experience level. I think it still has quite some value.
Yeah.
If you look from that angle.
Yeah. Your concept example just blew my mind because, from a software engineering point of view, we work remote, right? We can do whatever we want as long as we have a laptop.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, a music band can do that because they can have their studio set up.
Correct.
They can go to work, be on a stage performing for a virtual live audience.
Yes.
That's their work environment all of a sudden.
And suddenly, I think, also brings that level of discussion of without a step out of home to travel around the world.
Yeah.
Becomes a reality because as long as your content is the videos and recordings and photos are shot on 4K, 8K, or even higher, depends the technology evolve.
Yeah.
As long as your glasses or devices you visualize the content support such high definition, you literally could experience such thing without to step out of your house, right?
Yeah.
Basically, you can travel around the world. In my company, we also did idea collections around the metaverse.
Yeah.
And create a world around it. And there are so much ideas that people could imagine, and we even haven't thought about it. It's really, really interesting. And does not limit your imagination only on VR.
Yeah.
Maybe not everybody, including myself, I still feel VR is a heavy device to wear, like the Oculus glasses or any other equivalent manufacturer.
Yeah.
Because the glass requires certain level of computing power, resolution of the content.
It's bulky.
Yeah, it's bulky. I know company like Apple, Microsoft has done different approach like HoloLens. Maybe Google will come up with the same. So eventually technology will evolve to the level that it will make it thinner.
Yeah.
But it's no longer the hardware devices playing the major game. Of course, it's an enabler, right? The channel.
Yeah.
But the content is.
Yeah.
It has been always. But it's now really bring the content to the dominant level.
Exactly.
So your content gets capture full attention of the user's interests.
Yeah. It's interesting because it used to be that hardware was the bottleneck, right? We went from floppy disks to CDs to hard drives, more and more storage, more and more graphic power, more and more CPU power. And all of a sudden, we now actually have these devices that can do a whole lot, but we need to imagine, we need to create the software on top of it to make it reality, basically.
Yeah. And also think about hardware has never been you could say some of the version of Macintosh or Apple has been design level also very beautiful. Sorry.
No worries.
But the content has been always the major player.
Okay.
Think about even the floppy disks. Why would you use that? Because there's some awesome games you wanted to play with.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And think about the smartphone era. iPhone wasn't a disruptive invention
It wasn't?
because iPod Touch already existed.
Yeah.
You just add phone calling and the internet navigation capability.
Exactly.
So eventually will be there. User experience is already there.
Yeah.
Of course, Steve Jobs called the reinvention of the phone, but
Yeah.
the real disruptive value it introduced was App Store.
Okay.
Suddenly gives everyone the chance to create content,
Yeah.
gaming, accessories, toolings, you name them, right?
Yeah.
So you can use downloaded apps up to your convenience.
Exactly. But everything up until now has been centralized, right? It's always been a company owning this, profiting from bringing this into the market.
Certainly.
If there's a company that's going to do this decentralized, right, shared ownership, well, what is the benefit in there from their point of view? They don't own anything, or how's this going to happen if it's going to be decentralized?
So depends what companies will operate in what level.
Yeah.
I think ultimately speaking, if you wanted to support seamless user experience, you still need to have very good hardware to support.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. But the point is you are part of the game and not as you are the platform where people use your service only.
Okay.
So think about these days, website, right? Any website you visit, they run on a platform.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a hybrid cloud discussions, blah, blah, blah. But in the end, it runs somewhere,
Yeah.
scaled over multiple instances within that provider.
Yeah.
Now, the 3.0, at least the vision currently we are aiming for, is really content anywhere.
Yeah.
It could be laptop of your neighbor because you are nearby. It could be a data center of a company because you will travel and you need a bigger content supply.
Yeah.
Depends on capacity, also capability of certain content and service you are accessing. So they are part of the game, but they are not controlling the overall content storage, computing power. It really depends on the needs. Could be geographically speaking.
Yeah.
Could be the computing power needs speaking. Could be certain specific hardware requirements in terms of rendering the media content, right?
Yeah.
So it really depends where you are, but make things really, really decentralized or flexible.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. It feels like it needs a kickstart, and there need to be rules in place. And then if companies know how to contribute towards that, that's the only way where you can have one metaverse, right?
I think we are still at early stage.
Yeah.
Of creating, and we may go through, which is the truth. Look at HTTP protocol. Took years to consolidate.
Yeah.
Look at XML. Well, every company almost had their own XML definition, right?
Yeah.
So to some point, you need to become a standard, or jointly everyone develop the standard together. Otherwise, it will be quickly ruled out of the market. So we are at a stage, everyone trying to claim the game, be part of the game. I think the principle everyone should stick to is you will not solve the whole problem for Metaverse, but you just be part of the contributor.
Yeah.
So for company, you must think from, for instance, a company which provides hosting powers, computing power especially.
Yeah.
Right. Typically, those are the companies in double quotes control the content storage. You need to stand a point of view of what kind of extra business value you get in return.
Yeah.
right? More users running on your platforms, more capabilities that the community gonna build for you instead of you build on top.
Yeah.
And it's basically is an extension of your service anywhere.
Exactly.
So you need to think about that, right? I don't know if you know serverless computing. Probably you work with them every day.
Yeah.
No matter which cloud company does. So basically, is running your code as a function.
Yeah.
And the rest is managed by cloud.
Exactly.
I think that will evolve even more. Is your code will be running anywhere.
Yeah.
As long as the resource of the hardware supports. Could be your smartphone.
Yeah.
Right? So I think there's a very interesting episode. I don't know if you follow Silicon Valley series. So there's one of the episodes that's the founder, Richard, explained sort of the idea about the next generation of the internet.
Interesting.
So, of course, that series about the different type of technology, they were creating a next generation of compression algorithm, and then turns out to build a completely decentralized internet.
Okay.
And if you read his vision, that's exactly like that.
Okay.
Right? So, taking use of the remaining computing power of anyone and everywhere to be part of this whole internet. Right?
Exactly.
So that's the power of decentralization.
Yeah.
And information can come from anywhere. You don't have to know where they are stored as long as you have access.
Yeah.
I think there are too much concern, care about, where my data is, how is that being stored. To the enterprise grade, there will be always the discussion, I agree, because you probably are running a business who are responsible for the data privacy of others.
Yeah, if you are responsible, that is your concern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the nature of the problem is the internet doesn't give you this direct answer.
Yeah.
So what if it does?
Yeah, that'd be awesome, because then you wouldn't have to take care of that.
So, but again, that wasn't the main hype these days that people are talking about, right? So even if data are centralized, the people want to have an immersive experience.
Exactly.
So I think there are two levels of discussions, trend, initiatives going on. One is highly focused on content.
Yeah.
How to bring the next level of content to the people.
The next experience.
Next experience, the real immersive experience.
Yeah.
Feel as if it is in front of you. Feel as if it is your own location. And there are hardware companies even producing wearables, skins you can wear.
Yeah.
It gives you different electrical shocks in different parts of your body to simulate the pain, simulate the shock, simulate the different incidents.
Yeah.
So that in different sceneries of the game, once you get hit by someone, that you also feel on your body. Right?
Exactly.
So it's all focus on experience, either physical, feeling, smell, even, and visual.
Yeah.
Right. So those are the one area which companies like gaming companies, media companies, broadcast companies, marketing companies, design agencies will continuously looking into as Metaverse evolve.
Yeah.
Right? Because Web 2.0 as just website, just smartphone is no longer satisfying them.
Yeah.
So they need next level to introduce, then put the best hands to introduce and create the ultimate artwork to the end users and consumers, right?
Yeah.
So now the other level is typically the software engineering, the geek world.
Yeah.
Right? The NFTs, the blockchain people, the software engineering, who writes the code behind the scenes, and who really cares about the scalability, the deal with day-to-day, the data privacy, the data storage, the next level of support of computing.
Yeah, networking, stuff like that.
Networking, the internet. That's the part where the technology comes at play, which is a different type of technology than the front end part, right? The content part. The content part will be needing the continuous evolvements and also the improvement of the current hardware.
Yeah.
If you want to introduce, ultimately speaking, the immersive experiences to the level that people feel comfortable to wear, if it's wearable, or something else that's a company would come up with idea, but at least it needs to keep evolving, right?
Yeah.
And we will get there as we keep refining it.
Yeah.
However, on the so-called backbone part, that becomes hard.
Oh yeah.
Because no matter what you offer the content, it's decoupled.
Yeah.
So if you tell the people, yes, it's an NFT, there's no such thing that everyone continuously checking their signatures on the blockchain network, right? Now the questions also starts, will be one blockchain network? Will be multiple? How they exchange informations?
Yeah.
Right? Will this be standardized? Will people care to be standardized? If not, are we in the decentralized? Are we essentially control? Right? And also, what kind of applications, capabilities you want to enable? Are you gonna still deploy containers?
Exactly.
It's no longer even in the discussion anymore.
Yeah.
So how this business logic will translate it? So is everything needs to be written in the form of a smart contract like Ethereum is going to offer you?
Yeah.
So does it mean that we all need to rely on Ethereum as a network? Is that we going forward, or it's just part of it?
But how do you think it's going to get there? So I get what you're saying, that you have the more creative side, the more user experience side, as well as the platform, the infrastructure, kind of the people that create the metaverse, the rules of the game, the actual game. I'm calling it a game, but that's kind of how my mind interprets it. Yeah. The people that create the rules and the people that use it and be creative with it.
Yeah.
How do you foresee this happening? Because it's on such a scale, it's on such a global scale.
Yeah.
Is one company going to trailblaze and get something to a certain degree that other companies will want to use that standard? What do you think? How is this going to get to a point where we can actually use it and continuously improve it?
At this moment where we are, it's like exactly the beginning of internet. You use Netscape.
Yeah.
Some people use the early stage of other less well-known browsers. Yeah. So there's no such thing of a well-defined the browser that the market 80-90% of market is going to use. Yeah. And eventually and they don't interoperate. Some of the pages gets well displayed on one browser and others don't. Yeah. So we will, and we are at the stage that we have to evolve to a certain point, maybe 2 to 3 major vendors, not as a company, but as an application or technology support, will be predominantly what we use. Yeah. Right. So that's the front end part of the getting access to the information. Yeah. Maybe it's not only browser, right? It's a mixture of a app, a browser, a content render. Yeah. Suitable for multiple devices, or maybe each devices would have their own digital front-end technology to support content. Yeah. Like what happens now with VR glasses is different than the usual browser. Right? Exactly. So that will still remain as specific per channel, I would say, but the content must be interchangeable, right? Exactly. What you're experiencing in web, so to speak, on the browser, maybe browser will be outdated. Everyone needs to use certain things which is other than browser. But the protocols need to merge. Yeah. Protocol needs to get into a certain level that there's a common standard. Okay. So even if it is defined by a standard community, I hope so, because that's also why the metaverse whole vision is defined, right? Yeah. We own the whole metaverse definition. So that's natural evolvement if we want to stick to the vision and to the principles. Yeah. so that it will be, in my opinion, it will be very similar like HTTP. So slowly it will evolve to a different protocol. Either it's IPFS or something else similar.
Yeah.
Must be suitable for serving the content, also for the serving for the underneath infrastructures. There won't be too much change of the infrastructure because it will require more is the minimal computing power of the node. A node is the lowest definition of a computing unit, which participate in this decentralized network to either store, process, or run applications. And those nodes must have certain computing standard, right?
Yeah.
Cannot be any laptop, in my opinion, or phones or desktops. It must have at least certain computing power.
Yeah.
Right.
Otherwise, it can't compute what it needs to, or why do you say that?
Because if you wanted to decentralize, the content needs to be distributed, right, across the nodes, right, making them available. So that storage, everyone owns it. Maybe not on their own full content, but at least owning the content that you are searching for, right?
Yeah.
So that becomes also challenging. So how much you're gonna store?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? The storage becomes still from a centralized place, but then that's not the definition anymore of decentralization. So the data storage will become a very challenging topic to discuss.
Yeah.
Because it requires a capability. And whether you want those data to be centralized, as long as there's no centralized access by one company or two, I think the definition of decentralization and also can be a little bit blurrier, right? Otherwise, you will rely on those companies who give you the massive computing power and storage capability that each individual may not be able to. Right? Unless you go through a form of cloud sourcing type of thing, right? They say, hey, everyone contributes a certain amount of money there, so the content can be globally available in certain data centers. So I think the business model of cloud computing will change. Or either change to adapt or suffer to change. But currently, the way it is operated, if you really want to stick to the rules, I think it will inevitably need a change. And that's very interesting to see is how are we going to move forward, right? Cloud nowadays is still based on the capability of the data center every cloud provider has. In each region, availability is on, etc. Those lies on a very specific physical location, right?
Absolutely.
It's just not well known. Basically. Now, will this physical storage become a public type of thing? That remains debatable, right?
So that introduces also complexity with it, that when it is known where that is, that might compromise the data on there, or that might allow for certain specific targeted attacks. Exactly. So how this lowest layer you want to achieve the decentralization, that will impact the whole. I would say the content layer will continue evolving. Exactly.
So will this part of the decentralization of the information gonna change and cope with the speed of the media content? I don't think so.
It shouldn't, right?
It should be decoupled.
Exactly.
But it will be very interesting to see what it will be the next beyond the cloud.
Exactly. How they're going to solve those issues, basically.
Yes.
And I think companies are prepared for those, right? If we're talking about the cloud, more of the backbone, more of the infrastructure, the actual platform, companies have that already with, let's say, let's take the big three cloud vendors. I'm not considering Alibaba Cloud, but then we're talking Azure, AWS, and GCP.
Yeah.
They have people that, first of all, got that in place in the first place. So they're all also able to expand.
Yeah.
However, if we're talking about that user experience part of the chain, that is new. Because so I'm a software engineer. I went to a talk yesterday about 3JS, which is a library to introduce 3D on the web.
Yes.
That's a completely different ballgame.
Correct.
I can get my renders online, but I can only do so much, right? Because then we're actually looking at game design.
Correct. It's a graphical design, software engineering role combined.
Exactly.
Yes.
And now that you've laid it out like this, one of the biggest acquisitions, I think, ever was Microsoft acquiring Activision Blizzard. Right? It was a $70 billion deal.
Yeah.
And do you think it's then to prepare for both this backbone part as well as the user experience, whatever that may be? Do they need those skills?
So it's a very interesting how you leverage the content where you need for. My honest opinion, I think network we've achieved where we are.
Yeah.
So it will just evolve based on 5G and onwards, open up more bandwidth on the network level.
Yeah.
And also coverage depends where geolocation the person is, or on the ground or in really high mountain.
It's going to be available everywhere.
Availability will be there inevitably.
Yeah.
Even from via satellite, right? Now, question is, do you need all the content? So if it is not needed, you may have multi-layer of the availability of the contents.
Exactly.
So think about if you want to support the media contents of the game you are playing for, and you have your edge computing, high computing device at your hand. Yeah. Which is your smartphone. And nowadays, let's think about smartphone will be the still mainstream for your playing the game. Even you wearing glasses, smartphone would be the supplying a device behind the scenes for computing power, supplying CPU power or storage.
Sure, yeah.
So then the protocol of supplying the distributed contents and decentralized content needs to be smart enough for what content to supply.
Exactly. Kind of so you can get the highest quality content, highest it can be, or kind of a reduced version so you can still have the functionality.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you want to store and leverage the power of 5G on the edge side versus what you want to still keep in your backbone, in your back data center or on the cloud? Yeah. That's, I think, is a separation needs to be clearly defined.
Exactly.
Because if you still think about, I will make a request to a server on the cloud, fetch the content, it may not be enough anymore for what you want to do on the front end layer. Meaning that content either needs to be preloaded, distributed among the mobile devices, with or without you knowing them. And with least dependency on the data storage. That could achieve is independently you work, interact, play, whatever, entertain on the mobile front end, so to speak, right? In general mobile, including the glasses. You no longer need the continuous connectivity towards the back end. Yeah. So I think that's the separation we may achieve in very short term, because the mobile devices in terms of hardware requirements will become easier and easier to satisfy. Of course, the chips productions has been an issue. Sure. But it's just a matter of time. Now, the overall platform behind the scenes, whether they need to be decentralized, I think it will require attention, and also the basically the investment or effort to look into where worth to change. Yeah. Right? Yeah, and I think it's going to take a lot of iterations to get it right. Yeah. But once they have it right, it will be a multitude of migrations to get it to that point. But if you start next level of interactions by distributing your, really hiding your personal information, keeping control of the data you want to own.
Yeah,
I think it's already a step ahead.
exactly.
Now, who is storing it? It's just the power supply, so to speak. You don't want to own electricity, but you want to have electricity anywhere.
Yeah,
So you still pay the bill for a centralized company, right? But now, what kind of lamp are you going to put on it? What kind of digital devices, electronic devices you want to enable, it's up to you.
yeah.
So I think that's the closest analogy I could find.
Yeah. What do you think it's gonna? So when you say short term or long term, how many years are we talking here? Because let's say if I speak in general terms, an older generation already has trouble with the current technology that we have, right?
Yeah.
It's already getting difficult. So I think the younger generation is a generation that's going to carry this into the old ages.
Yeah.
But at some point there needs to be a transition because physical things, a glass here, a table here, those are easy to digest, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what we're talking about, even the concepts and the examples that you gave, they're all virtual. They're all mental models, and my mental model is different than yours. And when I grow old, that mental model is going to grow old as well. So how many years are we talking, do you think? Is this in the current 5 years, 10 years, or even?
I think the trend is aiming to change any time.
Yeah.
As long as the hardware support becomes friendly,
Yeah.
or commonly used, right? That will propagate very, very quickly in the society.
Yeah.
Now the needs is where we'll make the change, tipping off the critical mass to the massive adoption in general.
Yeah.
That is where people see their needs of day-to-day use.
Exactly.
So today it's still to the small group of people who wants to experience immersive experience, like looking into the highest definition of content, playing games, etc. Now, what to change your day-to-day? That's the next challenge we need to solve.
Yeah.
When the mobile app was introduced, was also gaming,
Exactly.
right? And slowly it starts moving into the convenience, lifestyle challenges, improvements, besides the enterprise level of interaction, like checking email or chat.
Yeah.
So once you have one of those solutions available, and changing the way that how we interact these days with the smartphone and our laptop, and can replace them and even make an interaction better.
Yeah.
I think that will be the point where vast majority will start looking into it and start using it.
Yeah.
Now it requires a device to be easy to use, comfortable. You can wear it every day, or wear it or have it available anywhere. That's very crucial.
Yeah.
We are not there yet. I see a lot of effort in the CES this year, the exhibition, the consumer exhibition, right? Electronic exhibition. The devices are all primarily focused on the metaverse experiences.
Yeah.
It's really getting there. But still, I think we still have at least a year or two to catch up.
Yeah.
So the content is way ahead.
That's cool.
That's very interesting. People can use their browser or powerful laptop to experience.
Yeah.
Now, once the wearable becomes comfortable,
Yeah. The
accessibility and the usefulness,
Yeah.
I think will become. It's no longer like, okay, so let me experience the next country I want to travel physically. It's like almost enforced.
Yeah.
Instead of, I need to read the news today, you naturally pick up your phone in the morning. So instead of pick up a phone, what's the other type of user experience you're going to take equivalently?
Yeah.
I think that will be the changing tipping point of majority of the consumers who will adopt.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just stay as a kind of sort of showroom case, right?
Exactly. Something geeky and something only a certain niche is going to use.
Yeah, exactly.
Once it is accessible, easy to carry with you or easy to access, it will open like the floodgates, because you have no choice, right? Adoption is everywhere. You're going to be like, what is this new thing?
Yeah.
And you're also going to try it out.
And the technology company, to be honest, needs to be prepared before that takes in place. Because once that takes in place means that major players are in place now.
Yep.
And then you are out of the game.
Yeah, you're too late.
Yeah. Remember that when smartphone was out on market, it was almost natural.
Yeah.
There are so many companies build a chat message, right, for people to be able to send messages over instead of SMS.
Yeah.
Well, in the first instance, it killed the SMS. Of course, everyone has their own version, Skype, the MSNs, right?
Yeah.
And also there are some even aggregator of multiple chats in one app, etc. Until a very simple app came along and replaced all of them.
Yeah.
That was WhatsApp. And nothing else than a simplicity that the app has introduced just for the chat. Based on your phone number, you can find your friends, and that's it. Right? No more features. But since WhatsApp was out, I think it even didn't need any marketing promotions or whatever that people start adopting. So the critical mass is important, and the moment is important.
Yeah.
And to achieve the boom, right? And from there onwards, you already out of game.
Yeah.
The rest of the group. So it's all the advice to the technology companies to keep up, right? So if you can, but really do the right thing and look into what's the useful things you want to introduce.
Yeah.
And then iterate and refine continuously. Then it becomes a exercise that you can switch one day to another your strategy to the right direction.
Yeah.
But now everyone is exploring.
Exactly.
Of course, gaming company is a natural step for them.
Yeah.
It's just add an additional channel in VR. Got it, right?
Yeah.
But what else you do?
Yeah.
That's also the thing.
It's going to be really interesting when we actually get there, or even how we get there. And we're right. I mean, we're right in the experimentation phase, right in the thick of it.
It could be also just a stop after a while.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's still not there into mind of people about digital currencies.
Yeah.
Although it's out of the market for 20 years long already.
It's slowly getting there, I feel like.
Slowly?
Year after year.
But still, you don't pay for it.
Yeah.
Right? People treat it as if a gold.
Exactly. You hoard it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing we do right now.
Very weird, right?
Yeah.
Because currency has no value rather than as a...
Spending it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a channel for you to... It's a tool set, right? You use it to exchange.
Yeah.
The products you want to buy or services you want to receive.
Yeah.
Money itself doesn't have value, right?
Yeah.
But suddenly, once it was out, it has associated to the existing currency market, then everything just became very odd.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the currency aspects needs to be solved as well.
Yeah.
Otherwise, how would you be using the future currency in this overall decentralized communication, or maybe use a different way of payment? Okay.
Yeah.
So
we're still trying to figure that whole thing out as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we are in a very exciting moment.
Yeah.
And also especially for software engineering, it's another period of golden stage. And there's no certainty, right?
Yeah.
Metaverse might be the next IoT.
Sure.
And it stopped for a while, and then people don't talk about it. And then after a while, something else came along, and the metaverse is still there.
Yeah.
But hopefully it doesn't end like this second life. No criticism to that. It was an awesome idea when it was launched, but it's just too early, right?
Yeah.
Is still too early in the metaverse. It remains debatable. But what I really hope is, really would like to see the next level, how internet would evolve.
Yeah.
Right? It's about time now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too.
In my honest opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Man, lots of thoughts going through my head right now. But I want to round it off here. Was there anything you still wanted to share?
No, that's it. I hope I hope I got the message through.
Yeah, I feel like I'm so interested in it right now. We might do a part 2.
Okay.
So we'll think about that. Maybe stay tuned for that. Jieke Pan, everyone. I'll put the links to his socials in the description below. So check him out and let us know what you thought about the episode. See you on the next one.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening, everyone. If you like the episode and want to support the show, don't forget to leave a rating. Better yet, share the episode with a friend. Let us know in the comment section below what you want to hear, and we'll make it happen. Cheers.